Today, I am going to talk to you about the importance of protein. I bang on about protein all the time, so I thought it was only fair that I give you an explanation as to why I am always going on about it. So, what is protein? So, protein is a macronutrient. It's made up of building blocks called amino acids. There are 9 essential amino acids that cannot be produced by the body, and therefore they must be consumed in our diets. Animal products contain all 9 amino acids in the correct ratio. However, most plant based sources do not, with some exceptions, including tofu, quinoa, some protein powders, among others. If you do follow a vegetarian or vegan diet, fear not, you can still get all 9 amino acids as long as you combine different protein sources throughout the day. Now, why is it important? The big question. Okay, I literally cannot overstate the importance of protein in your diet for your health and also for your longevity and quality of life. So, when we think about protein, we always just switch to thinking about bodybuilders with big, giant muscles. Okay, protein is just so much more than that. Protein is literally used for everything in your body, from repairing and replacing cells to literally synthesizing our hormones. So, way more to it than just muscle. Saying that, protein is responsible for building and maintaining muscle. Now, this is important because as we age, we naturally start to lose some of our muscle mass. And when we have low muscle mass as we age, this can lead to all sorts of problems, including metabolic conditions, cardiovascular disease, and also a loss of our independence. And I don't know about you, but I don't want anybody helping me have to go to the toilet when I become older. So, how much protein should I be eating? Now, you will notice on food labeling, they have an RNI, a recommended nutritional intake, and they have a percentage for how much protein is in that product. Now, the RNI for protein in the UK is 0.75 grams per kilo of body weight. Now, this is enough to avoid protein deficiency, which you definitely want to avoid, but it is definitely not enough to be maximizing muscle development. So, what is? Now, not as much as you would expect when compared to some of your other goals. So, as with anything to do with nutrition, the amount that you eat is dependent on you, your body size, your activity levels, and what your goal is. Now, if your goal is just to maintain good health and to build some muscles, you are looking to eat between 1.6 grams and 2.2 grams of protein per kilo of lean body mass. Now, lean body mass is really important here. So, lean body mass is really hard to accurately figure out unless you have got access to very fancy scientific labs. So, instead, what we can do is get a rough idea. You can go online and have a look at body fat percentage images, or you can have a look at a BMI chart and see what a healthy range would be for your height. The lean body mass is essentially your total body weight minus your body fat. So let's use me as an example. I weigh 70 kilos and I am approximately 25% body fat. So my lean body mass would be 52.5 kilos. So if I was interested in my health and building some muscle, I would be looking to eat between 84 grams and 115 grams of protein per day. Now, in a fat loss phase, you will notice that this is quite a bit higher. So, if you were looking to lose fat, you would be aiming to eat between 2.3 grams and 3.1 grams of protein per kilo of lean body mass. Now, the reason that is so much higher, when we are trying to lose fat, we are literally putting our body into a catabolic state. We are trying to break it down. Now, ideally, we want to be using our excess fat stores to find that extra energy, but we sadly don't have any control over that. So, what we want to do is minimize the amount of our lean body mass that is lost during that process. So, ways that we can do that are via resistance training. use it or lose it. Do some muscle building to signal to your body, I want these muscles, I want to keep them, don't touch them. But also consuming more protein helps us to maintain the muscle mass that we have whilst we're literally trying to make our bodies smaller. I've also included a target in here for people that are experiencing perimenopause or who have already had their menopause. Now, the reason for this is the importance of hormones in our muscle building and maintenance process. Estrogen in particular has a really anabolic effect on our muscles, so it really helps them to grow. When our hormone levels start to fluctuate or flatline completely, when we don't have that estrogen working on our muscles anymore, we start to naturally lose our muscle mass. So, again, ways around it, we do our resistance training, but we consume more protein. And that protein acts as that deficit between losing the estrogen and giving our muscles the stimulus that it needs to maintain themselves. So we're looking to have between 2.2 grams and 2.4 grams per kilo of lean body mass. So again, for my example, that would be between 115 grams and 126 grams per day. Now, you don't have to sit there now and try and figure this out for you. I have given you protein targets to aim towards, but if you do have any questions about any of this, do reach out and let me know. Now, it's not just about eating protein. When you eat protein is also important. And that is because within our muscle cells, there's a process that takes place called muscle protein synthesis. So, this is prompted by either resistance training. So, when we work out, we damage our muscle fibers and then we need to work to have them repaired. And it's also stimulated by the presence of an amino acid in our blood called leucine. So, muscle protein synthesis basically works to repair and grow our muscle tissue, but also to prevent the breakdown of our muscle tissue. So, you might be thinking, awesome, let's just smash out the protein shakes and drink protein shakes all day and get these awesome benefits of protein. But sadly, it doesn't happen like that. And that is because of something called the muscle full effect. So, once muscle protein synthesis has been stimulated, we cannot continue to stimulate it until it has run its course and it has returned back down to its baseline. So, this whole process takes approximately 3 hours. So, it's recommended to break up your protein throughout the day, leaving at least 3 hours in between your protein rich meals. The amount that you eat in each meal is also important. So you can't just have an egg and say, sweet, awesome, let's go, muscle protein synthesis. You need a little bit more than that. So in each meal, you need to be eating between 20 and 30 grams of protein per meal to stimulate that muscle protein synthesis process. If you are consuming your protein mostly from plant-based sources, if you're not having it from one of the exceptions I mentioned at the beginning, then you may need to eat more than the 20 to 30 grams. And that's because protein from some plant-based sources isn't quite as bioavailable because it's harder to break down some of those foods in our digestive system. So you'll be looking to eat even more than that per meal. So let's summarize. Protein is important. Protein is really, really important. And I hope I have convinced you of that by now. The amount you eat depends on your goal and also your size. I recommend to break up your protein throughout the day, at least 3 hours apart. And in each one of those protein meals, you're looking to eat between 20 and 30 grams of protein to stimulate that muscle protein synthesis process. More if you are eating your protein from plant-based sources. So hopefully this video has been helpful. If you have any questions about any of this, please do reach out. But in the meantime, go and eat your protein.